all my friends. So I finished Nehemiah chapter 8, but finished at verse 16. I'll have to put a note on my last video that we went up to do verse 16 only. So let me just finish 16, 17, 18 real quick here. And then I'm going to be doing some other kinds of videos, which I'm sort of anxious to do. In a good way. Okay. All right. So the people went forth and brought them and made themselves booths, every one upon the roof of the house, and in their courts, and in their courts the house of God, and in the street of the water gate, and in the street of the gate of Ephraim. And the congregation of them that were come again out of the captivity made booths and sat under the booths since the days of Jeshua, the son of Nun, and that day had not the children of Israel done so, and there were very great gladness to do it. And also day by day, from the first day unto the last day, he read in the book of the law of God, and kept the feast 7 days, and on the 8th day was a solemn assembly according to the manner. Now, you understand about booths, right? So they still do that today in Israel. You can look on YouTube. That they'll make these little booths for themselves and go and sit, and they'll make booths for a few friends or whatever, and they'll be in these booths, and they'll be there, for I forget how for the Feast of Tabernacles. And they still do that today in Israel. I think that's really cool. So yeah. Anyway, you can check that out for yourself. So in the law is read, and they do the Feast of Tabernacles, and they talk about stuff, and and it's kind of fun. So anyway, all right. So chapter 9, a solemn fast, repentance of the people. The Levites confess God's manifold goodness and their own wickedness. Now, in the 24th day of the month, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting and with sackcloths and the earth upon them. And the seed of Israel separated themselves from all strangers and stood and confessed their sins and their iniquities of their fathers. And they stood up in their place, and they read in the book of the law of the Lord their God 1/4 part of the day, and another 4th part they confessed and worshiped the Lord their God. So they had it all, set up. And then they stood up upon the stairs of the Levites, Jeshua, Bani, Kadmiel, Shebaniah, Bani, Sherebiah, Bani, and Chinani, and cried with a loud voice to the Lord their God. Then the Levites, Jeshua and Kadmiel, Bani, Hashabaniah, Sherebiah, Hodaiah, Shebaniah, and Pethahiah, said, Stand up and bless the Lord your God forever and ever, and blessed be thy glorious name, which is exalted above all blessing and praise. It just reminds me of that song, God gives and he takes away, but I will say, blessed be his name. That came to me the other day, really strongly. So glad to hear that song in my head at the time it came in. Thou art Lord alone. Thou hast made heaven and the heaven of heavens with all their host and earth, and with all the things that are therein, and the seas and all that is therein, and thou preservest them all, and the host of heaven worship thee. Thou art the Lord, the God, who did choose Abram, and broughtest him forth out of Ur of the Chaldees, and gavest him the name of Abraham, and founded his heart faithful before thee, and madest a covenant with him to give the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Girgashites, to give it, I say, to the seed, and hast performed thy words, for thou art righteous. And didst see the affliction of our father in Egypt, and heardest their cry by the Red Sea, and showest signs and wonders upon Pharaoh, and on all of his servants, and on all the people of his land, that thou knowest that they dealt proudly against them, so didst thou get thee a name, as it is this day. And thou didst divide the sea before them, so that they went through the midst of the sea on the dry land, and their persecutors thou threwest unto the deeps as a stone into the mighty waters. So it was the end of the wicked. Moreover, thou leddest them in the day by a cloudy pillar, and in the night by a pillar of fire, to give them light in the way wherein they should go. And they camest down also upon Mount Sinai, and spaketh with them from heaven, and gavest them the right judgments, and the true laws, and the good statutes, and the commandments, and madest known unto them thy holy Sabbath, and commandest them precepts and statutes and laws by the hand of Moses thy servant, and gavest them bread from heaven for their hunger, and broughtest forth water for them out of the rock of their thirst, and promisedst them that they should go in to possess the land which thou hast sworn to give them. But they and our fathers dealt proudly, and hardened their necks, and hearkened not to thy commandments, and refused to obey, neither were mindful of thy wonders that thou didst among them, but hardened their necks, and in their rebellion appointed a captain to return to their bondage. But thou art a God ready to pardon, gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and forsookest them not. Yea, when they had made them a molten calf, and said, This is why God had brought thee out of Egypt, and had wrought great provocations. Yet thou in the manifold mercies forsook them not in the wilderness. The pillar of cloud departed not from them by day to lead them in the way, neither the pillar of fire by night to show them light in the way where they should go. Thou gavest also thy good spirit to instruct them, and withheldest not thy manna from their mouth, and gavest them water for their thirst. Yea, 40 years didst thou sustain them in the wilderness, so that they lacked nothing. Their clothes waxed not old, and their feet swelled not. Moreover, thou gavest them kingdoms and nations, and didst divided them into corners, so that they possessed the land of Sihon, 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 and the land of the king of Heshbon, and the land of Og, king of Bashan. Their children also multipliedst thou as the stars of heaven, and broughtest them into the land concerning which thou hast promised to their fathers, that they should go and possess it. So the children went in and possessed the land, and thou settlest for them the inhabitants of the land, and Canaanites, and gavest them into their hands, and to their kings, and the people of the land, that they may do with them as they would. And they took strong cities and a fat land, and possessed houses full of all goods, wells, digged vineyards, olive yards, fruit trees in abundance. So they did eat, and were filled, and became fat, and delighted themselves in thy great goodness. Nevertheless, they were disobedient, rebelled against thee, and cast by law behind their backs, and slew thy prophets, which testified against them, to turn them to thee, and thy wrought great provocation. Therefore thou deliverest them into the hand of their enemies, who vexed them, and in the time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven, and according to their manifold mercies thou gave them saviors who saved them out of the hand of their enemies. But after they had rest, they did evil again before thee. Before leftest thou them in the hand of the enemies, so that they had dominion over them. Yet when they returned and cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven. Many times did thou deliver them according to their mercies, and testified against them that thou mightest bring them again into the law. Yet they dealt proudly and hearkened not unto thy commandments, but sinned against thy judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. Withdrew the shoulder and hardened their neck, and would not hear. Yet many years did thou forbear them, and testified against them by the Spirit in their prophets, that they would not give an ear. Therefore gavest them into the hand of the people of the lands. Nevertheless, for thy great mercy's sake did thou utterly consume them, nor forsake them, for thou art a gracious and merciful God, long-suffering for sure. Now therefore our God, the great and mighty, and the terrible God, who keepeth covenant and mercy, let not all the trouble seem little before thee, and hath thou come upon us, on our kings, on our princes, on our priests, on our prophets, our fathers, and all the people since the time of the king of Assyria unto this day. Howbeit that thou art just in all that is brought upon us, for thou hast done right, but we have done wickedly. Neither have our kings, our princes, our priests, nor our fathers kept thy law, nor hearkened unto thy commandments, that thy testimonies were within, did thou testify against them. For they have not served thee in their kingdom and in their great goodliness, that thou gavest them in large and fat land, which thou gavest them before them, neither turned they from their wicked works. Behold, we are servants this day for the land that thou gavest unto our fathers, to the fruit thereof and the good thereof. Behold, we are servants in it. Yet we yielded much increase unto the kings whom thou hast set us over because of our sin, and have dominion over our bodies, over our cattle, at their pleasure, and we are in great distress. Because of all of this we make a sure covenant, and write it, and our princes, Levites, and priests seal unto it. And I'm going to stop there at chapter 10. And we will continue with our Bible reading later on. Okay, I do hope that you have a great and wonderful weekend. I will be doing all kinds of things. Do plan to go on an outing on Sunday. Yeah, so anyway, I hope you're doing well. And leave me a comment when you're able. Tell me who you are. I enjoy hearing from people all over the world. I'm really kind of in awe. So thank you very much. Just know that this is not my doing. This is the Lord's doing. I do this for the Lord. I'm not getting monies monetized for this at all. This is something. This is my first fruit of every day, and so far I've done now on this channel 600 and some videos. My other channel I had a lot, probably another 100. So I've been doing this for 2 years, and who knows how long I'll be doing it for. So I really do hope I can get through the Bible for all of your sakes, and mine too. All right, love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.